Alright, yep, so, we're going back to the storyboard here. I'm fucking really kind of, I don't know, I'm just not really cool with this fucking, test, dude. It's really bothering me, because I've never had to really deal with this. This is the first time where it's been like, okay, you need to do a COVID test before you show up back for work. I've never had to deal with this. And so I want to go, back into the storyboard, I guess. I can't remember exactly how this ties into the storyboard. Well, I mean, it just like so much of everything does, but, so dude, I've never been into the COVID thing. Like, from day one, I laughed when they were talking about COVID, okay? I was like, oh, here we go again. Because I've lived through all these different hysterias already, like the say no to drugs panic and the say no to drugs hysteria. I lived through that, the Ronald Reagan say no to drugs hysteria and panic. That's what all that was panic and hysteria. Oh, if you smoke weed, you're gonna turn into a demon possessed and you're gonna fucking kill your mom with a frying pan. Like, I've already lived through all this stupid panic hysteria bullshit. First it was the Ronald Reagan say no to drugs, right? And I went through all that bullshit, and all it does is cause all kinds of fucking problems. All this hysteria, these hysteria psyops that they roll out. So after say no to drugs, then it was AIDS. Everybody's dying from AIDS. And it's this big, massive hysteria where, oh, don't kiss a girl because you could get AIDS from her saliva. If you sit on a toilet, you could get AIDS. I've already lived through, I'm 50 fucking years old. So when COVID came out, I know the fucking drill. This ain't my first fucking rodeo. So I was laughing. I was like, okay, here we go again. Here we fucking go again. Right? So I have never cared about COVID. And then it became, everybody started, like, it was like, that's all anyone on BitChute ever talked about was COVID, the plandemic, the scamdemic. Like, I don't care about any of it. The whole thing is bullshit. Like, why? You're just playing into their hands when they roll out this laughable, retarded, like, panic hysteria. And then everybody just starts talking about it. It's all over BitChute. 80% or more of all videos on BitChute are all about, convid, plandemics, la-di-da, on and on. And so I despise the whole thing about COVID. I didn't want to talk about COVID. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't care about any of it. Okay? And then even the jabs, like, I don't care. Why would I care? I'm not getting the jab, so I don't care. If people want to get the jab, they can. I'm not getting it, so why would I care? And that's all anybody wants to talk about. From 2019 up till pretty much now, all anybody ever wants to talk about is COVID and jabs and convid and plandemics and all this shit. And it's like, I don't care about any of this stuff, dude. It's like you are just playing into exactly what they want when they roll out this stupid fucking psyop like AIDS or fucking say no to drugs. It's a fucking hysteria. They just, or like a satanic panic. That's all COVID was, just another satanic panic. Say no to drugs. Everybody's got AIDS. It's all the same shit. And when they roll it out and then all anybody does is talk about it, well, that's exactly what they want. That's why they roll all this shit out, is because then all they talk about all day long is COVID, convid, plandemics, jabs, on and on. And so I've never been into this COVID shit. I don't even pay attention to any of it. I never have. And all it did was piss me off because it completely took over BitChute. That's all anyone on BitChute wants to talk about is pandemics, convids, jabs, COVID, fucking. I mean, I was so disgusted with the whole fucking thing. I don't care about COVID. I don't care about any of it because it's all just one big fucking joke. And the reason they roll it out is so that that's all anybody ever talks about. And did they certainly accomplished that. That's all anybody talked about since 2019 up until now. That's all anybody ever wants to fucking talk about. Okay? So I've never been into any of this COVID discussion or jabs discussion. None of it. Outside of maybe having a 10-minute conversation is like, yeah, this is all fake. Yeah, the jabs are fake. Yeah, I'm not getting a jab. Yeah, it's all fake. Yeah. And if they do mandate the jabs, yeah, I'm fucking going off grid. Yeah, that's about it. How long did it take me to say that? Like 3 minutes? Well, what is there to talk about? Like, why have hours and hours and hours and just like fucking hundreds of thousands of hours of videos on BitChute from 2019 up until now about nothing but COVID? Again, that's why they roll these things out, is so that's all anybody talks about, to disrupt meaningful conversation. So I've never been into the COVID narrative, not any aspect of it at all. I don't fucking care. Okay? But the thing is since about the last year, only in the last year, did I start to realize that this storyboard, this event that happened with my Psycho X, the demon possession, the whole thing, is directly tied to all of this stuff about shedding, the jab, PCR tests, chemtrails. Like, I am only starting to piece this part of the puzzle together in the last year. And really, in the last week, I'm watching that video about where the physicist goes into depth on this shit, and that Corbett report where he exposes the Pokemon Go. Dude, this storyboard is a big puzzle, but I've never cared about the COVID narrative or about even talking about it and about talking about PCR tests or any of this stuff. But see, now, especially in the last fucking 3 or 4 days, like, I only just started to realize how the jab and shedding and all this stuff is directly tied to my Psycho X and her insane demon possession. That there's a correlation with these things. And so since about a year ago, or maybe less, I started to connect the dots and realize that my Psycho X's demon possession and all this shit it has a lot to do with shedding, COVID, bioweapon viruses, the shedding from jabs and fucking even chemtrails and all this online shit, like with the Pokemon Go. See, and that's another thing, like Pokemon Go and how it's this tracking system. Pokemon Go is this big tracking system, and the CIA has been using all of this intelligence, all this computer technology to map, like Google Maps, all this stuff. Google Maps and all this stuff is all artificial intelligence based technology, and what's it called? Pokemon Go is a big part of it. And not only that, deeper you look into it, every person has an avatar, has an artificial intelligence avatar that is observing them and mapping their behaviors and mapping their thoughts, just like these computer programs map Google Earth. It's the exact thing. They're Google Earthing buildings and bedrooms and neighborhoods and um but also they're Google mapping you, dude. They are Google mapping and using artificial intelligence to learn you. And they have avatars for you and me. And the avatars are being built based off of the same technology that they use, that the artificial intelligence uses to map city streets and fucking neighborhoods and towns and states with Google Earth. It's all this, and it's all the identical shit to Pokemon Go stuff. This is all real, dude. This is all real. And like, you wouldn't think that COVID has anything to do with all this, dude. What would COVID, even if it, like a bioweapon and shedding and vaccines, have to do with Google Maps and like dude, like, you really, if you don't see how those two things are related, I understand, but that means you got to look at it. You really got to dig deep. So and it's all related to COVID, dude. I mean, when I saw that physicist, Harold, whatever his name is, explain AI and how they're using AI not only to map, like the same way that Google Maps maps city streets and stuff, they're using that same technology, and AI is learning how to map the inside of buildings, rooms within buildings, and not just buildings, to map it just like Google Earth maps city streets and all this shit. But not only that, but to map you, to learn just the way they learn, city streets and et cetera, they can learn you and me. This is all real. And when he explains how COVID, oh my God, dude, like, this is so fucking, I know this is real, bro. I know it's fucking real. And so I guess one of my point is that I've never cared about COVID before. It's only until recently have I realized, because this event happened 2 years ago. It is only until like about 6 or 7 months ago is when I first had an aha moment, where it was like, you know what I mean by aha moment? When I realized that COVID and shedding and vaccines and stuff is related to what happened with my Psycho X and this demon possession shit. And it explains it. I had an aha moment where I realized that this is connected. And then ever since I realized that, it's like, I've known that there is something to that, right? There's some connection there. But it wasn't until recently, when listening to this physicist and that report on Pokemon Go, it goes into great detail of how all of this connects. Demon possession with artificial intelligence, and it all involves like COVID and the vaccines and even the PCR tests, and how, and I'm not even that big into chemtrails. I know I'm not like, I've just like always been like, well, what can you do about chemtrails? I mean, they're there. I mean, whatever. I mean, it probably is some kind of shit, but I don't know. But beyond that, who cares? But dude, like, that physicist explains how chemtrails is all part of artificial intelligence. And they're using all this chemtrail technology to map everything, including you, motherfucker, and me. And so COVID is about mapping you and me. See, if COVID is a bio weapon, that means they've it's like, you know, transhumanism, right? Where you merge people with fucking technology. Well, that's what they did with the COVID, okay? Is they merged technology with biology. That's what COVID, the virus is it's a bioweapon that merges technology with biology. It is a weapon. And what it's designed to do is begin the process of detaching you from your essence. And once the detachment is complete, then the AI can potentially enter a person like a Manchurian candidate effect. You know, people think this shit is conspiracy theory. I know based off of personal experience with this demon possessions experience I had with my Psycho X that is what it is, dude. That's how it happened. Again, I've never been into all this COVID shit. But dude, when this shit happened with my Psycho X, this is how complex the story is like there's so many pieces to the puzzle. It's taken me 1.5 years just to make the connection of the potential, correlation with all this COVID shit and this demon possession experience I had with my Psycho X. And that was shocking to me because, like I said, I've always not cared about COVID. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care what the fuck you're saying. I don't fucking care. COVID doesn't affect me. It's the fucking flu, and I'm not getting the shot. So why do I want to listen to anything at all about COVID or whatever? But dude, think about it. If COVID is a bioweapon that merged technology with biology, and that's what we're breathing, and that's what's even in the fucking chemtrails and shit, and the purpose of it is to start to merge technology with us. Yeah. And the reason they want to merge get this technology in us is to begin the process of turning you into an NPC, to make you more of a sheeple, more of an NPC. How can you not believe that they're trying to turn people into sheeple and NPCs? Don't you see them all around you? Isn't that what the TV is all brainwashed? Like how do you explain all these sheeple and NPCs that just watch CNN and they don't even pay attention to any of this? Dude, don't you understand that's what they want the population to just be, a bunch of passive consumers. They just want everybody to be sheeple and NPCs. And so, don't you see that? Like, if you don't see that, I don't understand what the fuck, like, what planet are you living on? I mean, there is empirical evidence that that's what they want. And so, if you can, get to that point, if you can suspend your belief to realizing that, yeah, they want sheeple, because then sheeple are easier to control. And if you can agree to that, and even agree that, like, yeah, you notice, it seems like there's sheeple and NPCs around you. And it's like, okay, if you can suspend your belief that much to acknowledge and agree that, yeah, okay, now think about a bioweapon that merges technology with biology. You don't think they could do that? I think they can. And I think that it's possible that's what COVID was. And that's what's in the chemtrails too. So why would they do that? Why would they want to infect people with technology, like a Frankenstein merge of transhuman fucking a trans biological fucking thing that's part biological virus, part technology? Why would they want to do that? And so when this physicist is explaining that in detail and talking about how what the whole point of it is to further the sheeple agenda, to make it, to like really get the person to be a total trancer, complete sleeper, completely plugged in, total sheeple, total NPC. And once a person that it has become complete, where the person has become completely sheeple, completely NPC, where they're just a full-on trancer, completely hypnotized by the television and football and, you know, and Miley Cyrus, and that's all life is about, is football and Miley Cyrus, and, you know, and just totally like submersed in this non-real reality. Once they complete that in a person, then the artificial technology, the AI that they do have, can literally take that person over like a Manchurian candidate effect. Like, you don't think that this is real? You don't think that not only this is possible, but it's actually happening, and that it could possibly be, you know, being employed through the use of bioweapons that merge technology with biology. Like, dude, like, this is what's happening. This explains all the sheeple and NPCs, and I mean, you don't think that like the CIA in bed with Google, in bed with Keyhole, in bed with Pokemon Go and all this computer technology shit, you don't think that with all of that stuff, Google and all of that shit that everybody's all plugged into with their phones and everything else is tracking you and is able to map out like your house and your bedroom and create a simulated fucking simulation of your own house, to where they know where the setup of your house and where your TV is, just by tracking you through Google and all this shit? You don't think they could do that? Like, let alone, not only can they map out your fucking house, they can map out you and monitor Google and Pokemon Go and Keyhole and fucking and all this other crazy online shit that everybody's plugged into. Not only can they map up where a person lives, their apartment, the inside of their apartment or house and everything, but they can also map the person and have a literal AI avatar of the person. And the artificial intelligence is learning you by monitoring you through surveillance, through your phones and your computer. You don't think that this is happening, dude? Like, I know it is. I know that each one of us has a fucking avatar. And it's an artificial intelligence avatar that is mapping our behavior. And artificial intelligence is learning our behavior and creating a fucking avatar of each one of us. And that because it's artificial intelligence, it is continuously learning more and more, to the point where they can predict 80 or more % of our behavior. And dude, if you get a person where they're full on sheeple, full on NPC, you don't think that an avatar that has learned that person by reversing the program can override, where the avatar, your avatar can override the very person if you fucking deprogram that person enough to where they become an NPC, and then just by reversing the programming that the AI avatar of that person can enter them. You don't think that that's possible? You really don't think that that's possible? Because I would say, if you don't think that that's possible, I would say I don't think that you are fully aware of what's going on. I really do think that that's possible. And not only that's possible, that's what that's what COVID and this shit is all about. And that explains what happened to my psycho ex. She got fucking demon possessed by her own artificial intelligence avatar, because the process of detaching her from herself became completed. The process of completely transforming her into an NPC sheeple was completed, along with the completion of AI learning enough of her behavior through surveillance using Google, Pokemon Go, Keyhole, and all this other technology and cell phones and computers, that her artificial intelligence avatar was able to learn her behaviors and thoughts and stuff, and able to map it out enough to where it was so close to her. And you couple that with her being completely hypnotized by all of this fucking hypnosis shit that's going on. That yes, once they completed it, and they reversed the AI, and the AI entered her. That is what happened with my ex, dude. That's it. And it is demon possession. But I mean, it's what's crazy is it can be explained scientifically with physics. And like Pokemon Go and all this shit, it's like it all is like this is what happened. So and I'm just realizing this, especially the AI coupled with the surveillance programs with Google and Pokemon Go and the artificial intelligence and all this shit, and how it's all linked to COVID and shedding and all this stuff, and chemtrails and all this stuff. I just found this out like a couple days ago. Again, it was about 7 months ago that I finally had an aha moment where I realized that COVID and the jabs and the shedding and all this stuff is somehow directly tied into the demon possession of my psycho ex. But it wasn't until a couple days ago when I found this recent information that it was just like it blew the lid off the whole thing, where it's like, that's what happened, dude. And then ironically enough, today my boss is telling me he wants me to jab one of those fucking cotton swabs up my nose. I don't trust them cotton swabs. All of this shit, the cotton swabs combined with the shedding, combined with breathing the fucking chemtrails, combined with the fucking biological weapons, you call it whatever the fuck you want that's floating around, combined with the 5G towers, it is all fucking connected. And it ain't worth risking fucking sticking one of them fucking things up my nose. I've seen what it happens to people, dude. And you don't have to get the jab for this shit to happen. Even though I think that she got the jab. That's what's even crazier. This is all part of my storyboard. Like, you could take a fine-tooth comb through my storyboard. I explain how at first she was down with, like, she wasn't gonna get if they mandated a vaccine, she wouldn't go for it, and she was gonna go with me off grid. Then when they started the soft mandates, where they started mandating the fucking airline pilots and other essential workers, and I'm as soon as that happened, I sat her down and I said, we need to talk about this again, because now they are starting to mandate the shit. So I'm just checking in with you. If they do a full mandate, we're going off grid, right? We're not going to. And then that's when she changed her mind, because at first, a year prior, she's like, yeah, I'll go off grid with you. I'm not going to get it. So when it's the soft mandate started, and I sat her back down and just to check in and say, okay, it could happen. So you're with me, right? And then that's when she said, well, if they mandate the vaccine, I'll just go ahead and get it. And I was like, what? What? Are you fucking kidding? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fucking believe it. But then the event didn't happen for another 6 or 7 months. And then it took a year or more after the event, looking in hindsight, when I had the aha moment where I realized, dude, she got the fucking jab. That's how she fucking went totally fucking bonkers. So anyways, see how COVID, but anyways, I'm tripping the fuck out, especially with this PCR test thing, dude. If this PCR test thing that was dropped on me this morning, like, threw me way off whack, dude, way out of whack, where I am just tripping the fuck out, dude, because I feel like that shit is closing in. I'm not afraid or anything. I'm just kind of like, what trips me out is that everything that I'm saying could be true. That about artificial intelligence and surveillance mixed with the biological fucking COVID and the shedding and the fucking chemtrails, all this shit, is what caused the demon possession, and that they're fucking tightening the screws here, and nobody's even seeing it. Like, how is it that I all of a sudden out of nowhere now dude, nobody's ever told me I had to get a PCR test. I can't believe it. We'll see what happens. Anyways, this is just a massive rant that's going in the storyboard. This is me trying to get back into the storyboard. So I'm just going to title this storyboard.